talk about this. So it says that manufacturing industry, chapter number 6, it says that production of goods in large quantities after processing of raw material to more valuable product is called manufacturing. So the number one question, or you can say what simple question comes, that what is manufacturing? Now see, understand one point. Again, I'm telling you, you have already written your term 1 exam. Now you have to write term 2 exams. So it is not about MCQ. Come out of that euphoria that you had 4 options, right? And one of the 4 options is going to be your answer. Now you have to develop your writing skill. And writing skill means that if you know how to use your words in a proper way, and you are able to present your that means your views in a proper way, right? This is what that this entire gimmick is, right? So now question for 1 marks, 3 marks, all these questions are coming will come in descriptive way, right? So we have to think about writing to improve our writing skill. That means what words we are going to write and how we are going to write that one. So a simple question comes that select what meant manufacturing. Okay, what is manufacturing? So production of goods in large quantities after processing of raw materials. That means we process the raw material, we change the shape and size, and you can say the quality or the properties of raw material. That is called processing, right? And we change the value of that product. That means from sugar cane when we make sugar, right? From wheat when we make atta, or when we make bread or biscuit. This is called manufacturing industry, right? That means we are processing those products. From the cotton we make the thread or yarn, and from there it becomes, let's say, the textile. So this is called manufacturing, or you can say the processing of raw material into a manufactured good. So do you know that paper is manufactured from wood, sugar from sugar cane, iron and steel from iron ore, and aluminium from bauxite? Of course we know that. Okay, so do you also know that some types of clothes are manufactured from yarn, which itself is an industrial product? Let's say if you talk about the polyester, or let's say the synthetic material. So all these synthetic materials, like what we wear, the jackets, or you can say the wind cheater, this is a kind of textile which already has the raw material coming from industry, not coming from minerals, not coming from agriculture, right? Because those are the plastic based, or you can say petroleum based material or synthetic material, which combined with the natural product we make varieties of you can say textiles, right? So this is how we combine, let's say, the natural products such as cotton, jute and wool with the synthetic products, or you can say for the industrial product, to further process into a new things. Okay, so it's a very complex thing. So people employed in the secondary activities manufacture the primary materials into finished goods. So you know the 3 sectors of economy: primary sector, secondary sector and tertiary sector, right? For your knowledge, I would like to tell you that we have another sector which is called quaternary sector. Do you know about it? What is quaternary sector? Hello, what is quaternary sector?
We, we don't know.
Okay. Quaternary sector is basically the 4th sector where let's talk about scientists. Let's talk about computer programmer. What do they do? Do they manufacture something?
No.
No, but it is an economic activity.
So that's tertiary, right?
No, it's not tertiary. They are not giving any service. If you are in a research center, you are researching or certain things, right? And based on that, you get your salary or other economic. That is also an economic activity, right? Because you are paid for that, right? So why do we work in farms or industries or in service sector? Because we are paid for our work. In this sector, what happens that we are not giving any kind of service to the people, right? We are doing some research work, or we are making a program for, let's say, Boeing or Airbus, or for, let's say, NASA or ISRO, right? That is not going to benefit directly the human being, or you can say the people directly, the way you serve the people on phone, or you can say the bus services or airlines or teaching or medical there we directly interact with our customers, okay, right? This is how we give the service. But the computer programmer or the researchers, these are also working somewhere, they get their salary, a lot of money is involved in that, so it's again an economic activity, but people are not directly benefited from that one, right? But this is also a job, this is also an economic activity. So that is why this activity is called quaternary activity or quaternary sector. Okay, so we have primary sector, secondary sector, tertiary sector, and the fourth one is which is not, see, in all CBSE book you will never get this point, but I am telling you something extra, okay, just for your knowledge, okay, wasting your time. So quaternary sector is basically the computer programmers and the researcher and those people who are directly not serving the human being, or you can say the customers. Okay, they are called, but of course it's an economic activity, that is why this is called quaternary sector. Okay, so we have four sectors. Okay, mainly we have three sectors, but we have four sectors anyway. So manufacturing comes in the secondary sector, right? The workers employed in the steel factories, cars, waveries, textile industries, bakeries, etc. fall into this category. Okay, now you see in bakery we use what? Wheat, that comes from primary sector. But when we add the value from atta to biscuit or cookies or cake or something, right, that is what the bakers do, right? Okay, then it comes to the secondary sector. Some people are employed in providing services. In this chapter we are mainly concerned with the manufacturing industry which fall in the secondary sector. So the economic strength of the country is measured by the development of manufacturing industries. So see, any country, of course you have plenty of raw material, but if you do not have manufacturing industry in your country, then country cannot develop, or you can say that economically country cannot be called developed. If you talk about the African countries, we have gold, diamond, iron, where most of the things we have over there, rare earth, we have rare earth over there, we have cobalt and all these things, right? Those cobalt and other things which are called rare earth, some of the minerals which are used in our mobile phone, laptops, and the iPad and all these things, these come from Nigeria and Angola and all these countries, right? But those countries are very very poor, underdeveloped countries. Why? Because manufacturing sector is not there, right? Those cobalt and other things are sent to Europe or China, or there the things are made, and that is used in chips and you can say mobile phone and computers and all these things, but that come from Africa. But Africa is a poor continent. Why? Because of not having enough raw material. All right, so you have to. Okay, so that is there. So for any economic development of any country, you have to understand that we have to have strong manufacturing sector, right? So now just consider that in 1947 when India got independence, we were already the colony of 190 years for of the Britishers, right? And in that case, the way they deindustrialized the country, right? So because of that we were very very much poor country, or you can say we were underdeveloped country, right? So in 1947 or after 1951, when we had our first 5-year plan implemented in 1951, right? So that time government, what were the priorities for the government? So of course the government has the first priority to improve the agriculture sector so that everybody can have food. Okay, and after the second 5-year plan which came in 1956, we started you can say focusing on industries, because we wanted that most of the things what we use, you can say, you can look around yourself and you can see that what are the things you are using, and most of all the things are made in some kind of industries, right? So industries are very important for any country. If you do not develop industries, what may happen that you have to import the things. Now you consider that country made things, okay, and imported things, price will vary badly. So in that case what happens that if price varies, then people won't be able to buy it, because imported goods are very expensive, right? So you need to produce those things within the country, right? And here comes the manufacturing industries. So what manufacturing industry does, this talks about in the second column, importance of manufacturing. So manufacturing sector is considered the backbone of development in general and economic development in particular, mainly because Manufacturing industries not only help in modernizing agriculture, which forms the backbone of our economy, they also reduce the heavy dependence of people on agricultural income by providing them jobs in secondary and tertiary sector. Now you see, manufacturing industry does what? First of all, manufacturing industry supports the primary sector. How? Because the equipments which are used in agriculture is definitely made somewhere or the somewhere in the industries, right? So that is one thing. Secondly, have you heard of the disguised unemployment? Disguised unemployment.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
When the
Okay. Disguised employment means people are seen working, actually they are not required over there. This is called disguised employment. Okay. So you see that on a piece of land, let's say four people are working, five people are working, but actually they are not required there. That means that much manpower is not required in that particular piece of land. But since they do not have any job, so they are unnecessarily working there. Okay, so showing that they all are working, but actually they are not required over there. This is called disguised unemployment. So if we have industries, this burden on the primary sector, or you can say the agriculture sector, can be shifted, or you can say can be reduced, and the surplus you can say manpower can be shifted to the industries, right? This is one point. So remember this if this question comes for 5 marks or 3 marks, what are we going to write? First of all, we are going to write that manufacturing industry not only help in modernizing agriculture. Modernizing agriculture means that manufacturing industry makes equipments for agriculture, so that we should come out of our primitive method of agriculture to the modern method of agriculture. Number one. Okay, and then say they also reduce the heavy dependence of people on agricultural income by providing them jobs. So manufacturing industry provides jobs, so it is good for employment. More and more industries, more and more people will be employed. More and more people will be employed, they will get their salaries. If they get their salaries, they will have better purchasing power, they will buy more product from the market. So just consider that if somebody is unemployed, somebody is unemployed, naturally he will not buy so many things from the market. But if in a country or in a society where most of the people are employed, they will buy lots of things from the market, and this is how the wheels of economy keep moving. Because if they consume more goods, more manufacturing units will produce more things produced, that means more employment will be required, more raw material will be required, more storage will be required, more transport facilities will be required, more shops will be required. So this is how the wheels of economy run, right? So everybody gets benefit. Secondary sector, tertiary sector, primary sector, everybody gets benefits because of the industries or because of the employment rather than. Okay. Second point says industrial development is a precondition for eradication of unemployment. This is what we have discussed, and poverty from our country. So this is what I told you, that if industries are there, more and more industries, small scale industry, big industries, medium scale industries, if all these are there, then what will happen, that most of the people will be employed in those industries. So this is how we can reduce the unemployment, number one, and poverty also, right? This was the main philosophy behind public sector industries and joint sector venture in India. See, Gandhi was, that you can say, a strong supporter of you can say cottage industry. That means you can say cottage industries basically. Okay, he was used to say that every house should have employment. Okay, and every house should be a factory where people manufacture something. But Nehru was having a different opinion. He used to say that we need modern industries. We cannot have cotton industries and everybody gets employment over there. But of course, the quality of the product, and you can say the time they take and the cost of the product will be very high. So that is not good. So we need modern industries, right? So there was a philosophical difference on terms of economy, right, between Gandhi and Nehru. Anyway, so this was the main philosophy behind the public sector industry. Public sector industries means, what do you mean by public sector industries?
owned by the government.
Yeah, public sector industries means owned by the government. And what is meant by joint sector ventures?
private and government together.
Yeah, together, private and government together, because many industries, government and private people, that means let's say government might be having the ownership, but management is run by the private people. Why? Because private people are more professional, they can hire best of the best qualified people, let's say the top class MBAs, engineers, okay, other you can say the commerce people, accountants and other things, CA, all these things they can hire to make sure that the company runs in profit, right? While government may have the ownership, let's say 55% share of that industry belongs to the government and 45% to the joint, that is the private people, but government also agrees that these people are more professional, so they can run it in a better way, right? And they can turn the loss making companies into a profit making company. So that is why we have the joint venture also, okay? Some one thing. Second one, what happens that many MNCs, the private multinational companies, those owned by the private people, let's say if you talk about Facebook, then Microsoft, Google, and Twitter, all these things, now all these things are fortunately run by the Indians, okay? But of course they are not Indians, they are Indian origin, but of course they work for American also, only America only, right? So these companies, if they come to India, or let's say any manufacturing company, let's say Toyota, Nissan or Honda or anything, if they come to India, they will have joint venture either with the private people, or they can have joint venture with the government also. I give an example, Maruti Suzuki. Have you heard of Maruti Suzuki?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Maruti Suzuki. Suzuki is a Japanese company. Okay, ventured with the Indian government, government of India, sometimes in 1984 or 85, right? And after that, the most popular, the ultra modern, the first modern car came in India in the name of Maruti Suzuki, right? Okay, so that was a joint venture. So, okay, so if you are writing, let's say joint venture, you can write in bracket Maruti Suzuki. So this is what, one more thing you should understand, that give an impression that you are not in India, you are pursuing the Japanese, the Indian syllabus, but you are not in India. So if you give examples in bracket and all these things, right, that will give you further advantage, because the examiner will have the impression that okay, the child is not in India, okay, living in Japan or somewhere, and they know a lot about the Indian syllabus and Indian culture and Indian economy and all these things. So that gives a different impression. So that also you have to keep in mind. So it was also aimed at bringing down regional disparities by establishing industries in tribal and backward areas. So the development does not mean that you develop most of the industries in developed states. Development means a country has to keep in mind that there should be an uniform development. What is happening? Yeah, uniform development. Uniform development means all the states should have the stake in the development, and all the states should be equally participant in the wake or in the process of development. So in that case, government has to make sure that most of the development should not take place in Punjab, Haryana, Tamil Nadu, Maharashtra. Okay, that development should take place in Bihar, Jharkhand, West Bengal, Odisha, Madhya Pradesh also, or northeastern state also. That also they have to take care. So many of the industries were set up in those areas. Number one. Second one, all the large scale industries. If you talk about iron and steel industries and bauxite industry, and that means aluminum industry and all this, naturally any industry is established near the raw material. Okay, so wherever the proximity of raw material is found, there only basically these large, or you can say the huge scale industries are set up over there, right? Okay, so naturally, you have studied in grade 10, grade 9 also about Chota Nagpur plateau. Then you did not study the last chapter, so you cannot know about more about that. But Chota Nagpur plateau and all these things are rich in minerals, right? So there most of the SAIL industries, SAIL, Steel Authority of India Limited, SAIL industries are there. Okay, SAIL, remember SAIL, please note down, Steel Authority of India Limited. Okay, so they have their factories in Bhilai, Raurkela, Durgapur, then Bokaro, Okay, in these areas they have their industries and they produce steel. Why steel? Because steel is the most basic industry for the development of any country. Why? Because steel is used everywhere, for transport industry, for construction industry, everywhere. Okay, we use steel. Okay, steel has become part of our life every day, because in the furniture, in the houses, then you can say railway tracks, the coaches, the buses, everywhere we use steel. Where do we not use steel? Everywhere, right? So in that case, what happens, that steel industries, with the help of Germany, with the help of UK, with the help of Russia, that means the USSR that time, okay, we established our steel industries. All right, so that was done. Okay, where did it go? All right, so it says that second topic, second bullet is done. Now the third point: export of manufactured good expands trade and commerce. So if you are technologically advanced, right, or if your technology is able to, or you can say the finished product is able to compete in the international market, you can sell your product in international market and you can earn foreign exchange. That means dollars, or you can say the foreign currency, right? So it says export of manufactured goods expand trade and commerce and brings in much needed foreign exchange. Trade and commerce means buying and selling of products, right? So okay, so if you sell your product in other country, you buy something from third country, okay, so this is called trade and commerce. So in that case, what roughly I'm telling you, okay, that otherwise commerce has a different meaning. Okay, so if your goods are technologically high, or you can say compatible with the international standard, you can sell your product in international market, and this is how you can expand your market also, right? Mostly you can say the developed countries do that, because in their country, of course, the population is not so much to consume so many things. So now, so they are technologically, they are very high, so they sell in the developing countries, or you can say mostly in Asian countries like India, Indonesia, Pakistan, and all these countries, right, where they have big market for their product, right? Okay, now you see Apple watches or Apple phone or other phones, all these are produced in the country which does not have that much population. Let's say if you talk about Samsung phone, right? Samsung phone, Galaxy phone, and all these things come from South Korea, right? And South Korea population less than Japan. American population 300 million, right? So naturally they keep producing the goods, so naturally they need bigger markets. Where are the bigger markets? Bigger markets in Asian countries, or you can say African countries, South American countries, European countries, there only, right? So this is how they expand their market. All right, fourth point says countries that transform their raw material into wide variety of finished goods of higher value are prosperous. So you, here it says that this process, that means transformation of a raw material into higher value product, takes place in industries. So those countries which have industries, they earn more money. Just consider a case: if you sell one bale of cotton, let's say one bale of cotton is one bundle of cotton. I don't know how much is the weight of one bale of cotton, right? Okay, to Japan, right? Maybe you will get a few dollars. But from the same cotton, if Japan, with their own technology, if they make fine quality of cloth, that means they have added value in that cotton, right? Turning into yarn or turning into textile, right? They make more money. Take another example. Let's say if you are a farmer and if you are selling wheat, right? Wheat in the market gets a few dollar, a few rupees. But when the wheat is turned into atta, more money. When the atta is turned into biscuits, more money. When the atta is turned into cake, further more money. So what is happening? You are processing that raw material and you are adding values and you make more money. And that more money comes when you have better technology, right? So that is why here it says countries that transform their raw material into wide variety of finished goods of higher value are prosperous. Just consider raw material iron. You are selling that rock to a country, right? And that country processes that rock into a hematite, or you can say magnetite, or you can say fine quality of iron, and from there they make machines, right? And that machines is sold everywhere in the world. Think about how much money they make from your rock which you sold in several hundred tons in a very dirt price, or you can say very cheap price, right? And from there they process the steel and they make machine and they may make more money. So this happens. So processing of raw material make more money. All right, last paragraph of this page. Agriculture and industries are not exclusive to each other. Remember this paragraph, it's very important. How agriculture and industries are together, right? Okay, or you can say complementary to each other. This is what it says. They move hand in hand. Explain this quotation, or you explain this statement, right? Justify this statement. These type of question come. So you will write here, the agro industries in India have given a major boost to agriculture by raising its productivity. So what is agro industries? Agro industries means agriculture related industry which makes things or which produces things for agriculture, right? They depend on the latter for raw material and sell their products such as irrigation pumps, fertilizers, insecticide, pesticides, plastic, PVC pipe, machines and tools, etc. to the farmers. So this paragraph is very important. Basically this comes for justify. Okay, justify the statement. So you should know that what to write here. Okay, so industries make goods for agriculture, and agriculture with the help of those goods make more money or produce more. Okay, and that production, the extra production goes in the factories such as textile industries, sugar industries, paper industries, right? And variety of other things, other industries. Food processing units like the pickles, achar, papad and all these things, those things are made, right, because of agriculture, right? So industries provide tools to do agriculture in the modern way, right? And with the modern technique like fertilizer, pesticides and better tools, we produce more raw material, and that raw material goes to support the industry. Just consider in a country where raw material is not available, do you think industries will be there? No, it will not be there, right? Okay, so you need raw material within your country. All right, let's say cotton, sugar cane. You cannot have a sugar mill if your country doesn't produce sugar cane. Okay, gone are the days when Britishers used to procure sugar cane from Fiji and from Mauritius, and they used to let's say process, and they used to make sugar in England, and from there they used to sell in the whole world. Now it is not possible, right? Okay, so now definitely we would like to be cost effective, and cost effectiveness comes when you are or your industry is close to the raw material or the proximity to the raw material. That's very important. Remember this phrase, proximity to the raw material. Okay, that comes. So thus development and competitiveness of manufacturing industry has not only assisted agriculturists in increasing their production, but also made the production process very efficient. So this is how industries and agriculture both are interrelated. Okay, and they grow hand in hand, right? Now next paragraph. In the present day world of globalization, our industries need to be more efficient and competitive. Self-sufficiency Self-sufficiency alone is not enough. So our manufactured goods must at par in quality with those in the international market. Now we all live in globalized world, right? We have to understand that our products should be sold everywhere in the world, and their products should be sold in our country. And what will you be able to will be able to sell in international market, right? Technological things. That means your product should be technologically of the international standard, so that you can sell those things in those countries. Otherwise they will refuse. They will say no, it is below our quality, we cannot accept it. Then, right, they will be able to sell most of the things in your country, and you will not be able to sell. Why? Because your product is not of international standard. Okay. So we have to make sure that our product should also be acceptable in international market. Only then will we able to compete with the international market. Naturally, technology and the standard of goods should be of international level, then only we can compete. Otherwise, no, your India or your country will become a window, or you can say a market for them. They will sell their product in your country, they will take the profit in their country, right? And you will be just a consumer, you will not be a manufacturer. Or even if they are manufacturing in your country, most of the profits they take to their country. Just consider that Apple sells iPhone. Where does the profit goes? The profit goes to America, right? Pepsi, Coke, all these things we consume a lot, and that profit goes to them. It doesn't come to India, right? So we it is like, being a consumer country, right? So in that case, we have to how what to sell in their country, right? So we also have to make sure that our product should be able to compete in international market. That is what. Just consider, see, a very ironical thing I'm talking about. Indian people would love to work in Facebook, Google, Microsoft, and all these things. Okay, we make most of the software. 60% software in the world is programmed or made in India. But did we make any Google, Facebook, or Twitter, or Snapchat, or any kind of platform? No. That is called not being visionary. We did not think in that way. Of course, we are good at making programs and other things, but we don't make that kind of platforms. Okay, we could not make even TikTok. We could not make even TikTok type of very stupid app. Just consider that how TikTok become worldwide famous, and we could not make it. And we could not make our Indian programs or Indian applications famous like anything. We did not, right? So this is where we lack somewhere. So this is how we have to understand that where we are lacking and how to deal with this kind of the weaknesses. Okay, anyway, so that was a little out of topic. So contribution of industry to national economy. So when we are talking about national economy means contributing in GDP, that to whatever the total money value of all the products and services produced in India, in that what is the share of industry in that total value of money. Okay, so here say that over the last 2 decades, the share of manufacturing sector has stagnated at 17% of GDP out of total 27% of the industry, which includes 10% for the mining, quarrying, electricity and gases. So you can say that in manufacturing sector is basically 17% out of 27%. That means basically it is 27%, but out of that 17% comes from manufacturing, right? And 10% come from other areas such as mining, quarrying, electricity and gas. Of course, these things are also produced, right? Electricity is produced, right? So that you can say that electricity industry. But if you don't talk about that, then if you talk about tangible things which we can see, touch, and we can sell, or those things, in that the share is only 17%. So it has stagnated. Why it has stagnated, that also we have to understand. So it says this is much lower in comparison to the some Southeast Asian economies, where it is 25% to 35%. So if a stagnation takes place, that means not many industries are being open in India. It may be because of international competition, it may be because of the better technology in other countries, right? Okay, or it may be because cheaper labor in other countries. That is why many industries are not being. See, if I am a manufacturer, and if I have to select a country where I can produce at a cheaper rate, I will have many options. I may have India, I may have China, I may have Vietnam, I may have Cambodia, right? In these countries, I may have Thailand or Philippines or Indonesia, because here the labor is cheap. Raw materials are also there. All these countries have basic raw materials available there, right? So why not to produce in those countries rather than producing in a country where you can say things might be a little expensive, right? So this is why it happens. So you can see that many global or MNCs, those who are producing in China, now they feel that the cost of production has gone up, so now they are moving to Vietnam, or they are moving to Cambodia and all these things, because their technology is set. They will train the people, and they will start manufacturing in the same way, right? Some of the industries are coming to India because they understand that working in China is a little difficult thing, right? So this is how it moves. So here it says that it has stagnated. Why it has stagnated, that also we will see later. So it says this is much lower in comparison to the some countries. The trend of growth rate in manufacturing over the last decade has been around 7% per annum. So this is how we are growing, 7% per annum. The desired growth rate over the next decade is 12%. We have to have. So owing to our, let's say, or you can say that, keeping your population in mind, keeping your demand in the market in mind, keeping your unemployment rate in mind, you have to understand that at least 12% should be the growth rate of industries in India. What do you mean by that? That means suppose we have 100 industries. If we had 100 industries in 2020-21, right, we would like to have, that means in 2021 to 22 there should be 112 industries. That means 12 extra industries should be there. Okay, for 2022 to 23 there should be 12% of 112. Okay, so this is how it should grow. Okay, this is how it should be grow, rather than having 100 industry to 107 industry. We have to have 100 industry to 112 industries. This is how we have to grow, so that we can keep pace with the growing population, with the growing demand, with the growing purchasing power of the people, all these things. Okay, all right. Since 2003, manufacturing is once again growing at the rate of 9 to 10% per annum. I don't know how old is your book. This book I have downloaded from internet, right? So this may be the latest one, hopefully. Okay, so that says that since 2003 it is going at the rate of 9 to 10% per annum. With appropriate policy interventions by the government and the renewed effort by the industry to improve productivity, economists predict that manufacturing can achieve its target over the next decade. So it says here, with appropriate policy intervention by the government. That means governments have to make the policies easier and conducive for industrial growth. That means not much paperwork, not many restrictions, not many restrictions on the foreign investment, not many restrictions on the import of machines, foreign machines, less taxes, or you can say the tariff, or you can say the custom duties on imported machines. If these things are there, or promoting export oriented industries in the country. What do you mean by that? If we talk about export oriented industries, that means certain industries which are set up only for export purpose. That means they will not even a single unit of their product going to sell in Indian market, right? So if these kind of industries are set up in the country, right, and they can export more, they will get more foreign currency, they will make a niche, or you can say place in the international market. So if these kind of government policies come up, or of course gradually these things are coming up, right, we will be able to make more money, or we will be able to provide more employment and economic prosperity in the country. Okay, are you listening to me, everybody?
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
okay. Okay, so are you able to understand what I am talking about?
Yes.
Ah, okay. Avantika, okay?
Yes, sir.
Ah, okay, all right. The National Manufacturing Competitiveness Council NMSCC has been set up with this objective. So now we are talking about some basic thing, that means where should we locate our industry. This is what I was talking from the beginning, that proximity to the raw material. That means if you have to set up in an industry, you have to first of all think that what kind of industry I am setting up. Let's just consider that we open an industry, or you can say service sector, or let's say quaternary sector. With 10 programmers we are making applications. Okay, mobile applications. Do you need to understand this, that where would you like to locate yourself? Near the raw material? What kind of raw material we need? We need only 10 laptops, internet and electricity, that's all. We can sit on Mount Fuji also, and we can make the programs, right? Okay, because we do not need to be close to any raw material or something. Okay, so it is based on industries. Just consider why Switzerland has no iron and steel company, but they are good at making Swiss watches and chocolates and all these things. Why? Because you do not need raw material type of heavy raw material for that. Okay, so sitting on the mountains, or you can say the Alps, or somewhere in a very nice view, okay, in a big house, few people, or you can say artisans, are making very classy watches, okay, sold in several $100,000 or something like that, right? So it depends upon that what kind of industries you are planning to start. Okay, so here it says industrial locations are complex in nature. They are influenced by the availability of raw material, labor, capital, power and market, etc. It is rarely possible to find all these factors available at one place. Right. So if you are setting up an industry, you have to understand that what is the most important thing for you. The government policies, or the taxes, or the cheaper raw material, or a better market, or a better transport hub, all these things, right? That is important for you. So if you are setting up a let's say an iron and steel or heavy industry, you have to be close to the raw material, where several thousands of tons of raw material is required every month or every day, right? Okay, and several metric tons of finished product will come out from your factory. So you have to be close to the raw material, where you can get cheaper coal, then iron ore, okay, cheaper labor, all these things, right? Okay, and better transport network we can develop anywhere, but raw materials such as minerals and all these things we cannot develop anywhere, right? Okay, so we have to be close to that. That is why I gave you some examples, like if you are setting up a what do you say, software company, or watch company, or a chocolate company, or something industry, or something cheese factories, where will you make, or where will you set up all these things? So naturally raw material is important here. So it is rarely possible to get all the things together, but as far as manpower is concerned, we can bring the manpower from any country. You can see that in Japan, such as serious crisis is there, right? We all came from various parts of the world, and we all are working here, so that's not a problem. But certain things like government policies, securities, and you can say market, transport hub, all these things cannot be developed all together at one place, right? Okay, so consequently, manufacturing activities tend to locate at the most appropriate place, where all the factors of industrial locations are either available or can be arranged at lower cost, because no industry can run at a higher cost. You have to make sure that your cost of production should be much lower than your sales price. Okay, then only you will be able to make profits. That is the main dynamics of you can say economics, or you can say the business, right? So after an industrial activity starts, urbanization follows. What do you mean by this? Remember this statement, please underline. Once you set up an industry, okay, urbanization automatically starts. Just consider you set up an assembly line, okay, or let's say Honda came to India, right, and they set up an industry, or you can say assembly line, in a C class city, in somewhere in Tamil Nadu, or in Maharashtra, or in UP, or somewhere, right? Okay, 5,000 workers, or let's say 1,000 workers are working in that assembly plant, right? Assembly means they assemble the parts and they make cars, right? Like that, that is called assembly plant, right? So thousands of people are working over there. So those thousands of people will have their families. That means the parents, wives, children, all these definitely would like to live near the factory, right? Because they would not like to travel 50-60 kilometers per day every day going and coming, right? So they would like to live near there only. So since now 1,000 plus their families, their wives, children, and all these things are living together, they need schools, they need hospital, they need transport, they need a cinema hall, they need shops, varieties of shops, grocery shop, vegetable shop, so many things they need, right? So this is how automatically urbanization starts, right? Plus, not an industry makes everything on its own, right? They need varieties of other things from various other small industries, which are called ancillary industries. Okay, all ancillary units. Just consider as an assembly plant. Honda starts an assembly plant somewhere in Tamil Nadu or Coimbatore or somewhere. Just consider one case, right? Okay, Honda is known for what? The design of the car and the engine. Rest of the things come from where? The car mats, the rear view mirror, the glass, the tires, and other small, the seat covers, the seats. All these things Honda doesn't make. They outsource, or you can say they buy from other units or with other industrial units. So those industrial units, the other units will be close to that main assembly plant only, so that they can easily and quickly they can supply their goods to Honda assembly plant, right? So you can see that one big industry can create many small industries, right? And in those industries workers work, they get salaries, they get payment, wages, right? They would like to spend, right? They live with their families there, okay, because they would not like to travel far and wide. So in that case, automatically what happens, urbanization starts over there, right? If they have good purchasing power, they would like to send their children to better school, so you need better schools over there, better health care, better transport, better cinema halls, and good market, all these things. So all these things gradually start over there, right? So this is how you can write your answer, and you can justify this statement that after industrial activity starts, urbanization also follows. Sometimes industries, I am at the last line of this column. Sometime industry, I'm at the second column now. Sometime industries are located in or near the cities. Thus, industrialization and urbanization go hand in hand. Why industries would like to be close to the cities? So that they can get advantage of the cities. That means they do not have to arrange the workers' quarter. Number one, they will get varieties of facilities which are already available in the cities, and they do not have to arrange those things, right? They do not have to create schools and hospitals for their employees and their children. They do not have to create markets for the employees, right? Because if it is close to the cities, naturally they will get the facilities from the cities, so the industry does not have to do anything extra for them, right? And meanwhile what happens, simultaneously that industry also gets benefit from the cities also get benefit from the industry, because lot many people will come to buy goods, live there, and all these things in those cities, right? So this is a dual benefit. So thus industrialization and urbanization go hand in hand. Cities provide markets and also provide services such as banking, insurance, transport, labor, consultant, financial advices, etc. to the industry. That is why industries would like to be close to the cities. Okay, rather than, or this is also one thing, that industries would like to be close to the raw material, depending upon the types of industries. Okay, industries would like to be close to the cities, so that they can get those facilities quickly and easily. Many industries tend to come together to make use of the advantages offered by the urban centers, known as agglomerations economy. Try to understand what is meant by that. Many industries tend to come together to make use of the advantages offered by the urban centers. Those industries are known as agglomeration economies. So there what happens, the variety of industries set up together, so that they can get everything from each other, and then the cities also provide lots of benefits, right? And this is how all together everything grow over there. Okay. In the present independence period, most manufacturing units were located in places from the point of view of the overseas trade, such as Mumbai, Kolkata, Chennai, etc. So before independence, most of the industries were near the port. So that, why near the port? Because that kind of nature was there. The industrial nature was like that. I tell you what is meant by nature. Because the British, these were controlled by the Britishers. They made India the supplier of raw material, number one. Okay, so with the help of the railways, which was set up in 1854, with the help of the railways, they used to get raw material from the corner, the interior parts of India, right? And all the raw material used to come to the port. From the port, loaded on the ships, it used to go to England, and from there it was processed into the finished goods, and the finished good used to come back to the same port. and from there, with the help of the railway, the finished goods used to go to the interior parts of the country, right? So mostly the industries were set up over there, right? And when they started setting up their industries, they set up their industries near the ports, so that the raw material and other the finished good can be sold to the other colonies easily, right? Export and import point of view. That is why overseas trade was there. Consequently, there emerged certain pockets of industrially developed urban centers surrounded by huge agricultural rural hinterland. So let's say in 1947, Mumbai, the size of Mumbai, Kolkata, or you can say Chennai, was very small, right? Gradually, many people, more and more people started coming in, and then this is how it started expanding, and now these are very big cities. So now you can see the flow diagram here, that if you talk about the industry and the market linkage, what are the inputs for industries? Raw material or the component part. The factors of productions are land, labor, capital. Okay, you know the four factors of production. Have you studied four factors of production in grade 9?
No, sir.
Sorry.
No.
Yeah, that was in the first chapter only in economics. It's written over there. Four factors of productions are land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurship.
Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah. So land, of course, because everything will be based on land only, right? Another, that means without that you can't produce anything. Number one, without labor you can't produce anything, right? Without capital, because every production, for every production you need capital, right? And who is the man behind everything? That is called entrepreneur, right? So he is the man who takes the risk, he is the man who invests money, he is the man who is unsure about his return, right? Then also he venture into this production process, right? So he is the man which is called entrepreneur. So if he is not there, if you have land, labor, and capital, but you do not have the courage, or you do not have the person to decide what to produce, how to produce, and for whom to produce, then nothing will be produced, right? Okay, so there must be somebody who is taking decision, or who is taking risk in this market, right? So he is the man, entrepreneur. So naturally, these are the four factors of production, please keep in mind, right? Then it says that these things need transport, right? Transport, that means the raw material and all these things are transported to the factory produces those things, that means the output takes place over there, further it is transported to the market, right? And money comes in, right? So money is needed for raw material and four factors of production, right? And money comes from the market when the product is sold. So money is needed in both the things, that means in production facility also, in the raw material also, right? Okay, so I move to the next thing, last paragraph of page number 64. The key to decision of the factory location is the least cost. That means wherever the cost is the least, where there only I would like to set up my factory. Government policies and specialized labor also influence the location of industries. Okay, so government policies, suppose a place, there is a place, I'm talking about, let's say Tokyo or nearby area only. If you set up an industry in Tokyo, it is going to be very very expensive. But if you set up your industry in Saitama, or let's say Gunma, or let's say outskirts of Tokyo, that means other prefecture, let's say interior part of Chiba and something, you will find that the land is cheap. Government policies are also conducive to that, because government gives you a lot of rebate over there. That means less taxes will be there, land will be cheaply available, all these things will be there, right? So government policy is one of the factors. Okay, let's go back to India again. So in India, what happens, that when government tries to develop a particular pockets of the country, right? Then what government says, that government makes SEZ. That means, what is that? SEZ का full form क्या है? SEZ? special economic zones, right? Special economic zones, right? So there what happens, what is meant by that? Special economic zones means that government provides you lot many discounts, or you can say facility. Let's say if you set up your industry in this SEZ, you will get 10 years of tax holiday, right? That means government will not charge any tax, let's say excise tax, production tax, another tax, income tax, okay, from the factory, okay. So this you get land at a cheaper rate, electricity at cheaper rate. So this is how governments try to develop that particular area, because just now you studied in the previous page that once our industrialization starts, urbanization also starts, right? Okay, and a lot of employment comes over there. So this is called government policies, right? And specialized labor also influence the location of industry. There are certain industries where you need specialized labor, right? Specialized labor may be highly educated people. Let's say if you see that 20-30 years ago, when India started its computer education and compulsory computer education in India, in the schools, right, we produced lot many programmers. Those programmers are not only in India, everywhere in the world they are working, and they are ruling the companies, right? Okay, so in that case, not everybody can come from India to other countries. So many MNCs, or you can say Facebook, Twitter, Google, Microsoft, IBM, they all have based their location in India. Why? Because specialized labor is cheaply available in India. Yes, right? Okay, so that was one thing. Okay, next paragraph, next page will be the last page for today, right? So I'm just reading this page for you, and we will see that what something is. Okay, ideal location of an industry, you can see. So cost of obtaining raw material is this one. The one thing, cost of production at site, that means production cost is how much, that is another factor. Decision to locate factory at site, and cost of distribution of production, that means how far is the market, number one. How expensive is the raw material, number two. How expensive will be to producing that particular thing in this scenario or in this location, right? These things are important factors, or these factors are important for the location of any industry. Now when we talk about, let's say, classification of industries, it says that list the various manufactured products you use in your daily life, such as transistor. Do you use transistor? Of course no one. Electric bulbs, vegetable oil, cement, and blah blah, so many things, okay. On the basis of the source of raw material used, we can classify the industries in two ways. Let's say agro-based industries, such as cotton, woolen, jute, silk, textile, rubber, sugar, tea, coffee, edible oil, etc. And another one is mineral based. So industries are basically of two types. One is agro-based, that means you get the raw material from agriculture. That is why we read in the that page that industries and agriculture grow hand in hand, because more raw material available, more such type of industry will be developed in the country, right? Okay, so that is why. So agro-based industries where we are there, and another one is mineral based, that means iron and steel factories, cement, aluminum, machine tools, petrochemicals, all these are mineral based industries. These are the examples. Okay, so these are on the basis of the source of raw material. Remember the first chapter was what about the resources, on the basis of origin, on the basis of what do you say, possession, who possesses all these things. We had there also the classification. Now we have the classification of industries. So on the basis of raw material, we have agro-based and mineral-based. On the basis of main role, we have basic or key industries are those which supply their products as raw material to manufacture other goods. Iron and steel and copper smelting, aluminum smelting, etc. So these are the basic or key industries. Just see that from iron ore, what are the types of things we make? We make iron sheets used in cars. Okay, thick iron sheets for construction industries and variety of things. Okay, iron pipes, iron rods for construction, and so many things we make, right? So, and similar thing is for aluminum and other things also, right? Copper and all. So these are the basic and key industries, because without these industries no country can grow. Because just consider that if you want to if you want to make high rise buildings, or you can say flyovers or bullet train tracks and all these things, and you do not have raw material, how are you going to manage that? You have to import from either India, Australia, China, okay, Philippines, Indonesia. These are the raw material producing countries. Right from there, you have to bring the raw material. So, but if you have the raw material in your country, you can produce according to your technology. You can produce better goods, and you can use in the basic. You can say the construction industry, transport industry, and all these things. So these are the basic and key industries. Second is consumer industry, that produces goods for direct use by consumers, like sugar, toothpaste, paper, sewing machine, fans. These are the consumer industries. Okay, in that we have two things. One is called consumer durable goods, and another is called fast moving consumer products. Fast moving consumer goods. So one is consumer durable, such as television, fridge, ovens, and all these things. That means once we buy, that goes for, let's say, 5 years, 10 years, or something like that, right? That is called consumer durable goods. And second one is fast moving. That is called FMCG. Please write down FMCG. Okay, all the examiners in India know this, so I'm not telling you something which is very new. Okay, FMCG, fast moving consumer goods. Fast moving consumer goods. Okay, FMCG. So you can see toothpaste, sugar, all these things are fast moving consumer goods, FMCG, because every month we buy, quite frequently we buy. But sewing machine or fans, or you can say fridge or television, we don't buy every day, right? Okay, so these are consumer durable goods. All right. Okay, so that was the according to the main role. Now we talk about on the basis of capital investment. That means how much capital you are investing in a particular industry, right? So it says on the basis of capital investment, a small scale industry is defined with reference to the maximum investment uh, allowed on the basis of the asset of a unit. This limit has changed over a period of time. At present, the maximum investment allowed is 1 crore rupee. That means 10 million rupees is that is called SME, small scale industries. Okay, that one. Next one is on the basis of ownership. So public sector, that means owned by the government, right? That is BHEL or SAIL. I told you about SAIL, Steel Authority of India Limited. That is SAIL. And what is BHEL? Bharat Heavy Electric Limited. Okay, Bharat Heavy Electric Limited, right? That is BHEL. They make machines, electrical machines they make. So all the industries which need machine and all these things, those machines are made in BHEL, right? And SAIL, what happens? We make steel, because I told you that steel is the most common and basic industry. So naturally, if you want to develop your country for various projects, you need steel. So naturally, we have to have steel factories in the country. And most importantly, when you have a lot of raw material, that means iron ore is available in the country, then why should we not have our own steel plants, right? That's why. So one is public sector, next is private sector industries owned by and operated by individuals or a group of individuals, like TISCO. What is the full form of TISCO? Anybody can tell me? TISCO. Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What is TISCO?
Tata Iron and Steel
Company. Yeah, Tata Iron and Steel Company, TISCO, Bajaj Auto Limited, Dower. All these are private companies. Okay, Tata Iron and Steel, that means TISCO by, of course, by Tata's, Bajaj Auto Limited by Bajaj. Okay, Rahul Bajaj. Okay, and Dower, of course, Dower is another one. Dower Honey and all these things. I don't know who the owner is. Okay, another one is joint sector industry, which are jointly run by the state, that means the government, and individuals or a group of individuals, right? So either a group of individual and a state, that means the government, they make joint steel. Oil India Limited is jointly owned by public and private sector. Okay, so this is a one example. So remember this example because that is important here. Cooperative sector industries are owned and operated by the producers or the supplier of raw materials, workers, or both. So cooperative sector is another type of industry where uh, profit is not the main idea, or you can say profit is not the main motive. What the main motive is to provide the goods at a cheaper rate, or you can say at a reasonable rate, so that you should not be exploited by the industrialist, right? So that is the cooperative sector. So they pool in the resources and share the profit or losses proportionately. Such examples are the sugar industry in Maharashtra or the coir industry in Kerala. Okay, so these are the cooperative sector industry. Based on the bulk and weight of the raw material and finished goods, we have heavy industries such as iron and steel, because there you need hundreds and hundreds, thousands of tons of coal. Then manganese, of course, manganese is needed only 1%, right? For every 1 ton, you need 1% manganese. That means for 1,000 iron ore, 1,000 kg of iron ore, you need 1 kg, no, 10 kg of manganese only. Okay, this you might get it somewhere here in the chapter only, right? Okay, then you need iron ore, then several hundred tons of coal to melt the iron ore, right? Those things are needed. So these are called heavy industries, where raw materials are, or the inputs are in heavy in use. Light industry that use light raw material and produce light goods, such as electrical goods industry. Okay, so you do not need heavy industry over there. So with this I leave you now. Okay, it's already around 10 o'clock. Okay, and in the next class we will start agro-based industries. Now we will start studying detail, in detail about all these types of industries. All right, ठीक है?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, so I leave you now.
Yes.
See
Yes,
you on
sir.
Monday next time, 8:30 sharp.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, bye bye.
Thank you, sir.
Bye bye. Thank you. Good night.